Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful night. Chewing the BBQ Fat here, and excited tonight. Tonight is is a show that I've been wanting to have on for a long time. I know I followed some of these teams for a long time. I love what they're doing. I'm a huge fan of growing the sport, of bringing everybody in, and I thought, what better way than to bring on what, in my opinion, is one of the coolest things going on in competition barbecue right now. I know we've got Tom Tilley coming on with the Pit Vipers here in Georgia coming on in a little bit. But we got Mike on, and he is the founder of this high school association. I'm going to let him talk and explain everything that's going on, because to me, this is one of the most exciting things in barbecue. So, guys, Mike, the principal, is what we've got you on here as. Can you go ahead and tell everybody what you've got going on here? I'm going to try and share the page, like the page. Guys, do everything you can to get the word out, because I'm super excited about tonight's show.
Thanks, Brian. We're glad to be here, and glad to have Tom and Chuck and Carl with us from Missouri and Florida and Georgia. You know, this was just a labor of love. You know, in the end, we're all teachers, and we love our kids, and we want to give them an education and get them excited about learning. And, you know, I started it in Texas at my high school, at Burnett High School, small rural school outside of Austin, Texas. And in 4 years, it went statewide, and we had a statewide championship. We've probably got 140 teams. And then I started a nonprofit in Texas, and now I've started the National Barbecue Association to really get teachers all over the country working with you guys, because in the end, we get them for 4 years, and we want to get them excited about learning. And after that, they go off to college and do some tailgating and maybe some football games, and then hopefully do some competition barbecue. And of course, they got to feed their families as well. So it's really just getting started, and it was inspired by high school bass fishing and high school rodeo and high school clay or skeet shooting. And I couldn't believe there wasn't a competition out there for kids cooking. And there's a few small ones that are more kind of chef-driven, fancier food, and like Chopped on the Food Network. But our kids love the barbecue and be outside, and it just made sense. And obviously, Texas loves barbecue, so it worked here. But the reality is, it'll work all over the country. And I've got teachers in at least half the states right now that are looking at getting going and starting teams, because they see the kids get excited about it.
And I tell you what, I love it. I've been pushing the backyard program here in Georgia, and I love seeing the backyard grow. And this is just something that the whole grassroots of this whole thing is awesome. And how did you have a Texas organization going, and then you expanded it to the national, or what?
No, I had a Texas organization going, and I left it and resigned and started a new company, and now it's the national. So we're not affiliated with the old association, and that was just a difference in opinions, and that's how the barbecue world is. Some people want to do it their way, and I didn't agree with the way that they were looking at it, so I decided to do it a different way. And that's how we're going to run it. It's about kids, and it's about education for us.
Awesome. Man, this is cool. Chris Schaefer, I've got Chuck on, and he's going to come on in just a second. He's the Missouri guy. So hold on a second, Chris. You can talk to Chuck, and he will give you all the information you want to about barbecue in Missouri. So really cool, Chris. Great job today on your releasing that brisket cook also today. So Mike, how many states do you have represented now going on for this?
Well, right now there's 5 that are represented. We've got 10 that are interested, but Massachusetts and Illinois are getting hit real bad, and of course there's a lot of politics going on with this whole COVID thing. So the reality is this season's kind of shot. Most schools aren't going to get to cook until after Christmas, and if they're lucky, they may get 1 or 2 cooks in before April. So we're just looking at this as a year. We've got some boot camps going on to let schools and teachers know about it, and kind of teach them our process and show them how to get it going in their area. And then next year will probably be the the big launch. And that's why I said originally we had planned on launching September 1st, and you're the first one to put it out there. But because things are so crazy right now with school, it's they lost budget money. A lot of them have been shut down, and they're just learning for 8 weeks or more. Some of them are shut down, like California is shut down until January 1st. I think they won't be going back to school until after Christmas, which means they're not going to be traveling anywhere doing anything.
Right. So Tom Yoder just posted, he said he taught barbecue to culinary schools in his county, may have to see about a team here in Georgia. Do you have to be a teacher, or what is it? How does it work if you want to have a local school get involved?
Well, you have to. You don't have to be a teacher, but the whole goal is you got to work with the school, and that's why I started. Is I love all the organizations out there, and we're not working with anybody exclusively. We want to work with all the associations and invite anybody that wants to participate. But we want them to be at high schools. We want them to be at school districts, because just like you guys raise money for all different kinds of charities out there, these schools are hurting right now, just like anybody else. And the amount of impact you can make, especially males, and most, barbecue is predominantly a male sport, but you'd be amazed how many women we've got out there cooking right now. 2 years in a row, we had a lady, she called herself the Jalapeno Hottie in Texas, win and cook by herself all 4 meets and beat 55 teams and won the whole thing. So we've got some ladies out there that want to cook, and the big thing is finding a school district that will work with you and is willing to either start a team or host an event. And if they're interested, then they can join our association, and we'll basically show them how to do it. We want to basically get this to be where it's recognized by school districts. And the only way to do that is to basically make it available at a school in a high school parking lot, so that it's just like any other sport: basketball, baseball, hockey, football. Because the minute it leaves the school district property, there's a lot more liability and different kinds of things going on. And the reality is, we want this to be about community. And if you bring it to your high school and your local community, man, we had 10 teams in our local Barnet community cook against each other. I got a buddy that's a chef up in Waxahachie, up in Meat Church country, and they had like 20 some odd teams cook regionally in Waxahachie, Texas, to find out which teams would advance. So, and I think Texarkana up in the East Texas area, they had 30 teams this last year from all different high schools, and a lot of them were being mentored and coached by adult guys.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Tom, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Tom Tilley. He's here local. What's up, Tom? How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming on. I see you're in the comments over here talking with Tom Yoder about something going on here in Georgia. So, Tom, you're the Georgia representative of this, correct?
Yeah, no thanks to Mike, contacting me probably in February. After I spoke with Mike on the phone and we talked a few times, I actually contacted 600 principals around the state and got a lot of replies. And we were going to have a state championship here. Our Dr. Peavy, our head of school in Little Falls, agreed to a state championship here. Then COVID.
Awesome. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So tell me a little bit. I know you because I've cooked with you and your kids and everything else. It's so cool to see. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, Tom. So tell me, how did you get involved? How did you get involved in this? I know you had the backyard team before all this even started.
It was actually an accident. And I was the only teacher on campus, and I was a varsity basketball coach, and the principal came in and she was kind of giving it to me for not sponsoring a club. I said, okay, I'm a varsity club. And it just spiraled. Everything happened by accident. We had club day. All I had was a clipboard, and like the Key Club had these exotic stand-up, accessories to draw people in, and it just spiraled. And I love the attention the Pit Vipers get. No matter if they finish 10th or 1st, and they draw a lot of attention. The last one there and coming was awesome.
Man, I tell you what, I talk about y'all all the time. I'm so grateful for what you do. I think it's one of the most incredible things, bringing in the kids, as what Mike was talking about. It gives them something to do. And then Rob Bauer, he's out of California. He's got an incredible Facebook group, the Backyard Heroes. He said kids need programs like these to focus on rather than drugs and gangs. Teaches them teamwork, and great things come from hard work and organization. Rob, it's so true. And that's one thing that I've noticed that you're trying to do. And Tom, I know when you're at a contest, you're helping them, but man, you sit back and you let them do the work.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like an offensive coordinator calling the plays.
Right.
That's what, and it's great. There's been times, and I love it when they do this. They say, Coach Thieler, back away. I got this. And it happens a lot. I said, all right, you got it.
And there's like those times
support from the teams. There's 25 teams that come by and help us. I mean, Jim Burke came by and helped show the kids how to cut our mighty muscles, and he won an Aiken, South Carolina last week at DC.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so proud of Tom. I mean, of Tom. I'm so proud of Jim and Jan. Great people. Love them. They're one of our sponsored teams. We're so proud of them. He hadn't cooked them forever, and he just goes out and wins. And like you say, he was over there Friday night with your group of kids.
Yeah.
And hands on. And what was so cool to me is all the kids were just embracing it. They were all about it. It wasn't like they were, they really were into cooking. I think that was so cool. And I always try and go over there and say hello to y'all, but
I literally have 2 or 3 cooks I talk to almost daily, 2 or 3 weekly and 2 or 3 monthly. They all help. The barbecue world is a great fraternity.
Yeah. Janet wants to know, do you have any information or a curriculum for this program that you could send out? Janet, I believe Alabama. I'm not sure where you are. Let me know. I mean, you can say.
Yeah, if you go to highschoolbarbecueleague.com, you can sign up, and we actually have boot camps to talk about our curriculum. And basically, we're rolling it out so that you can do it in your own high school. I'm a high school culinary arts teacher and also a chef. That's how I got into this. I went to culinary school. I've been teaching culinary arts for about 20 years now. And it's all about cooking, teaching the kids a new skill. And ironically, a lot of the rural schools like to smoke and cook barbecue because our small town doesn't have a sushi restaurant. We don't have any fancy, high-end places. Our kids want to cook meat and they want to smoke, and that's how it all started. And we're all educators. Tom, same boat, and Carl. We just want to get our kids engaged and get them excited.
Carl, I know you're here. I know you're in. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I know you're down there. I'm going to bring you on in a little bit. Sorry about that, but he's down here. I was just going to let him know.
We got to give Tom some time to talk smack, that Florida Georgia smack talk.
That's right. So what is the goal? Tom, I know you've talked about having a state championship here in Georgia and it being a rib chicken one day. I think it's a rib and chicken, I think is what you said. But is that something that you all are doing, or how does that work?
That's a decision Mike's going to make collectively with us. And I believe it was chicken, ribs, pulled pork, steak, and ancillary dessert.
Okay. All
right.
And the reason that the dessert was because a lot of these kids are in culinary programs and they like to cook, they like to bake. So it just gives another kid an opportunity. And, and we're not doing brisket because it takes too long. And if we do have a national championship or state championship, then we may do brisket then. But, this is about giving them training wheels, basics, just the fundamentals to get them started. Because in Texas, probably 90% of the teams were female teachers that had never cooked barbecue before. And you think about that, and Georgia the same way. They love their barbecue. Imagine growing up and never doing barbecue. It's because mom's making dinner in the kitchen. She's not out in the back smoking or grilling. Well, now these kids and teachers are learning how to smoke and grill, and they can pass that on to the next generation. So it's going to be cool to watch.
My wife made a heck of a pork tenderloin tonight. She had tenderloin. She had some squash on there. She put corn. We just fired up the Rectech, the pellet grill, hit a button, and go. I think that's one thing that's about this also is I think it's easier now than it's ever been to cook, to get out there and make it easier for these kids to cook, for anybody to get out there and do it. My kids my 2 boys, they're 10 and 7. they have a pellet grill that they're out there cooking on, and it's easy for them just to go out there, hit a button, fire it up, and then go cook. And I think it's awesome. So now, Tom, I know your team. You have a backyard team, and you also have some that cook in the kids' queue. I guess that's your middle school team or something.
Yeah, I just have one. It's my son. Due to liability reasons, I don't bring on middle schoolers. But
Okay.
because I can't sue myself, I'll bring my youngest on.
There you go.
He wants to stay with. I don't think he wants to do kids queue much.
Okay.
He really likes doing the ribs.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, you know,
cooking with Hog Mafia in Roebuck on the 28th.
Say that one more time.
Me and my boys will be cooking with Hog Mafia.
Oh, Josh, awesome! Another great guy. Love Josh Roberts in the career. Well, good. All right, Mike, I'm going to pull you down for a second. I'm going to bring Chuck in, if that's okay with you, and then I'll bring you back in. Don't worry.
No worries.
I think I am. Oh, there we go. All right, Chuck, welcome. Chuck, you're in Missouri, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you got going on out there in Missouri.
Well, we're just getting really started. I seen all this last, I guess, January, February before the COVID shut us down, and we got approved to get a team started. I was talking to Mike, and so with school back down, we're trying to spread the word. We're looking for sponsorships out there. We're looking for talking to culinary arts, just really trying to spread the word to get teams and plan for our state competition for next spring.
Awesome. Now, how many teams do you have? I hear you got quite a few teams already signed up out there in Missouri. Did I lose you, Chuck? Now there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's cutting in and out.
Okay. How many teams do you have in Missouri? Oh, well, all right, we lost Chuck. I believe he has 15 teams. Is that right?
He did say that.
Okay. All right, Griff, come on.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, bud. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having us.
So you're the Florida. So not only do we've got Georgia, we've got Florida, we've got Texas National, and Missouri. Chuck, I'll get you right back on in the stand. I just went ahead and brought Griffin. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you have going on down in
Well, I've been cooking pro comps for, I think, going on 8 years now. I was working at my middle school, and the assistant principal came to me and said, "Hey, we're trying to do all these new clubs. You do the barbecue thing. Can you do a barbecue club?" And I told him I'd have to think about it, because I'm sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to, because they were only going to let us have one period once a month to do it. And I'm like, how am I going to show kids how to barbecue for an hour? And one day I was working, I don't know if I used to work at Whiskey Bent Barbecue Supply.
Okay.
And I was at work there one weekend, and it just came to me. I said, well, we can do what we do with our classes. I can just cook ribs, for instance, throughout the day, and then have them ready by the time we have the club. So that's kind of how it got started there. And the kids loved it. The kids weren't really cooking. I would have a couple of the kids help me out and whatnot, but I did the majority of the work. But like I said, they really enjoyed it. I had about 25 kids that would meet for that club. And then one day I was working the store again in the summer, and the superintendent of my county, her husband was a regular customer, and we got to talking one day, and he goes, "Hey, me and Jackie Bird is our superintendent. We've been talking, and we thought maybe it'd be cool to have a team of high schoolers represent Polk County School Board in the Pig Fest. That's our big local contest here every year, KCBS." And he said, "Do you think that can be done?" And I'm like, "Well, let me think about it." So 2 summers ago, I was sitting at the house thinking about things and how the next year was going to come along. And I'll tell my part of the story was I was getting burnt out, man. I've been teaching. This is my 21st year. About year 15 is about the time teachers start feeling it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. The last 5 or 6 years, it's been holding, man, because teaching middle school wear you down. Long story short, I decided that's what I needed to do to get my fire built again. And so I actually reached out to Heath Hall to see if the KCBS might be interested in doing something with it. And he referred me to Mike. And so me and Mike have been talking since last summer, and we got Tom in. I happened to see Tom Pit Vipers on just scrolling through Facebook one day, and I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, man, do you know we're doing this thing?" And so we just kind of all started coming together and talking through things. And the biggest thing about our format is, we talked about it. We need short cooks because liabilities. Our school districts aren't going to let us have kids overnight, man. There's just too many things that could happen. So we are changing up the format to meet that. It also brings down the cost for the kids. I mean, there's a lot of barbecue teams dropping out of KCBS and Florida Barbecue Association because they can't afford to cook. And so that's another thing that we have to think about while we're building this, is to keep it affordable for the schools. So that's where it all comes from.
How many teams are signed up in Florida?
I don't have any hard signups. I've got about 4 within my county now. I've got 1 interested down in Okeechobee, 1 interested in Fort Myers. I haven't had a chance to really put the word out down here as much. It's once again, I've been kind of holding back, seeing how this COVID thing is going to go. We started our first teacher day today, so okay. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting on promoting it here this week. But I've got about 5 or 6, maybe up to 8.
All right, that's awesome, man. I love it. And I heard Mike say there's going to be a Georgia-Florida rivalry kind of thing. I'm excited to hear about this. I love this.
I'm not really worried about it. Hey, check this out, man. When Tom starts quits calling me for brisket advice, don't worry about it.
Well, what do you need brisket advice for?
I'm going to I can't cut it to go in a box. So Griff's sharing all his secrets. We're bound to give Georgia's bound to give Florida a good match.
Yeah, that's fine, man. Whatever it takes, kid. I'm just looking forward to getting together and cooking.
It's the old recipe.
That's what's so cool is getting together, cooking, everybody having a good time, having fun, having a little bit of rivalry, having a little bit of stuff going on. It makes
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you say you cook. How many? And then I know, Tom, you said that you've had a lot of local cooks reach out to you. Griffin, you had a lot of the local cooks reach out to you also?
Yeah, when I put up the announcement about being the Florida director, I had quite a few people hit me up, even from Alabama, people that I know through the barbecue community. And like I said, right now we're still trying to get the information collated so we can get it out and disseminate it to everybody. So this is a foundational year for us.
I got you. Yeah, and I'm going to bring Mike back on in here a second. Let me see if I can. Get Chuck back on here real quick. Chuck, I'm going to bring you back on for a second. Tom, I'm going to take you down for just a second. Man, I'm getting rid of this guy.
Yeah,
all right,
get George up out of here.
Well, I'm a Georgia guy too. So.
I know.
I won't
hold it against you.
Well, I appreciate it. I just appreciate it. We're just here trying to push barbecue. I don't care if it's in Georgia. I don't care.
That's right.
I don't care where it is. I want barbecue to roll. So, Chuck, welcome back. Sorry about that earlier. Where were we? Where we left off?
We're kind of at in the state of Missouri, which right now we're at trying to spread the word, get it out to culinary arts, FACS programs, any youth organization that, would be interested in having a team. We're working on trying to find a date for next spring for our first state contest. And I've been working with some sponsorships and trying to find some people to come on board to help, us out and things like that to assist.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're right in the middle of barbecue country, right? There's barbecue everywhere around you. I'm sure people are trying to reach out to you just like they are Griffin, Tom, and Mike also. What are you trying to do are you trying to incorporate some of the local teams to help, or are you just trying to strictly make it a high school thing where, you know, you're out there teaching them and everything else?
Well, I'm an ag teacher and FFA advisor. This is my 21st year. So for a
Oh, wow.
lot of us, we're teaching an agricultural food science curriculum already. And that's predominantly a junior senior class. And then we teach ag food products, you know, at the freshman sophomore level also, and even in some of the junior high programs. So when we look at this, a lot of us are already cooking. Some of the ag teachers cook a backyard. Some of them help some KCBS teams or teams from over the St. Louis area. Our ag teachers are in the shop building smokers. They're catering. So this fits perfect into what we are already doing on the ag side of things. And then I look at our vo-techs that have culinary art programs. Most of them have a welding program or an ag program there also. So to me, it just fits right into there. And then those standalone programs that are in high schools, so they have a FACS program, or, you know, back in my day, it was FHA. Now it's FACS, or FCCLA is the leadership side of that. And so those programs, you know, are doing food competitions already, just not with barbecue. And so I think in a lot of these schools, my goal is to try to get the word out there. And if you don't know, there's probably a KCBS team that I can find for you that maybe mentor you, or one of them that's no longer competing that owns one of the many restaurants that we have in the state that would be willing to mentor them. You know, I talked with a guy today who builds pits professionally, and, you know, he is pumped and excited about seeing this get started, not only in Missouri, but nationwide. And, you know, he said, hey, I'm here to help. What can I do to help you, Chuck? You just tell me what you need, and I'm going to make it happen. And he goes, you know, we're on board 100%, and we will help you find other people just like us that want to see youth being taught how to do barbecue. And so, you know, it was inspiring to see some of these guys talking, and, you know, Chuck, what do you need? You know, we talked with a barbecue store a week ago, and I was talking, I said, hey, I know you guys are hit a ton. Give me a list of guys that would help. Well, Chuck, what do you want from us? You know, and I said, well, I don't know 100% yet. He goes, when you know what you want from us, you know, you let me know. We're going to start getting you a list together of people that will help you. And so I find that encouraging for me, because with this being brand new to us, I have a lot to learn, of course, about the high school side of it. And so I look forward to having some great partners here in the state of Missouri.
I mean, Chris Schaefer, he's a heavy smoke barbecue. He's, I think, number 2 in the country right now in KCBS. He's just on here saying he'd love to help barbecue. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but Chris Schaefer, great guy in your area. I guess he's in your area. I don't know real. He's in Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
To me, that's your area. But you know, I mean, it's so cool to see. I mean, I know there's a lot of teams that are willing to give back. I mean, you know, they want to help. They want to do whatever they can, and we'd love to see this go on. I mean, and you know, I think that's really cool. So I want to bring Mike back on for a second. And Mike, if you're ready, I'm going to bring you back on. What can teams do that want to reach out? I mean, would the best way for them to reach out to you, would it be to reach out to their local representative? What would be the best way for a local barbecue team?
Well,
to see what they
can sign up on highschoolbarbecueleague.com. And like right now, I've got a teacher group of 2,000 teachers that do what I do. I just spoke to the whole state of Ohio just last week, and they're mainly culinary arts teachers that, you know, everybody's interested in. The problem is COVID. You know, we just don't know. I mean, teachers are in triage mode right now, if you can use that word, because, I mean, they're either starting school or the next 8 weeks are going to be the hardest they've ever worked. So they're not really thinking about barbecue or anything until probably Christmas break, which is why most of our events are going to be in March and April. I don't know when Chuck or Carl are having theirs, but we had our state championship and all of our events canceled last year, and they tried to reschedule just like adult comps, and they got canceled again until finally they said, we're not rescheduling it. So, you know, if they reach out to their local high school, a lot of times all you got to do is put the word out. And, you know, it's amazing how many school principals, we've got 3 superintendents right now that are barbecue guys that are just all in. The minute they found out that this was a thing, they're like, how can we get started? What is it going to take? And then FFA side, there's a lot of 4-Hers and FFA that are involved all over the country that they do. We teach this already in school. When we teach cooking, we teach welding, we teach engineering, all the things that we call it STEW, science, technology, engineering, and welding. It's project-based learning. Kids are learning how to do a lot more than just barbecue. And you guys know the adults that do this. I mean, it's time management, it's planning, it's stress, technique, it's, all the things that they, teamwork, collaboration, the fellowship, all those things. There's a lot of kids out there that are lost right now, and they need something to look forward to. And believe it or not, food is a good vehicle to get kids into a program. And that's how it started at Burnett High School. We've got the welding shop, what Chuck does, right across the hall from our commercial kitchen. And they're building these beautiful barbecue pits that they're going to go and auction off and take to rodeos. And they weren't cooking on them. And I was like, when are you guys going to cook on those? And we started a small local competition. And it just grew from there. And my daughter's team actually won. Their FFA team won grand champion at the World Food Championship last year in Dallas. And the year before that, we had a team from Sweeney High School outside of Houston. They won best team chef in the United States in Orange Beach. So there's some kids out there that can show these adults a thing or two. They amaze me every day. So,
shoot, I know. Heck, Tom, the Pit Vipers here in Georgia, man, they rack up, and every time they cook, they're out there getting calls, and I thought they were going to win the last contest, and coming. So it's really cool to see. Chuck Aaron Stouffer's on Man Meat Barbecue. I mean, he's the number 1 team in KCBS right now. So, it's all kind of great things going on right now in barbecue. But let me bring Griff back on. I didn't have much time to. I don't think we brought him on to talk. So, Griff, what is as people trying to get on the FF? Is it FFA? Yeah, the FFA, was that one of the big questions y'all try to use?
Well, I hadn't really explored that yet. I teach at the middle school level. My partner, Matt Townley, is the guy at the high school level. So I'm not as well connected into the high schools as much. We just started an FFA class at my middle school the last 2 years. So, I believe they have something going on where they're doing a little bit of cooking and barbecuing too. So I haven't really been able to tap into that. The barbecue team that we started at George Jenkins High School, we had a bunch of FFA kids that wanted to do it. But the problem is that we competed at Pig Fest this year. It's the same exact weekend as our county fair. So all the FFA kids had to go show their animals and do their FFA stuff, but they wanted to be there for another contest. I tried to get another contest, but COVID shut us down before I could get the kids out to cook again. So, hopefully maybe this year we'll be able to do it, especially if we do it at the school level. I think maybe we'll be able to pull some of those kids in and I can schedule around, some of their FFA events. So I'm hoping to pull some of those guys in. And
I've got some culinary teams in Florida, Griff, up in South Florida and North Florida, 3 teachers right now. So the word's getting out there in the high schools in Florida.
Yeah. I just need, like I said, we've been waiting to get everything in line to get it out there. I want to say something about the girls cooking. It was kind of funny. I think we had about 20 kids show up and showed up at Pig Fest to cook with us. And I'm going to tell you something. The girls were on top of it. And I want to share this thing because I told my buddy Matt Townley, I said, I have a feeling this is going to be one of the greatest barbecue experiences we've ever had. And so when I was getting my brisket, I was cooking with a friend of mine from the UK, Dr. Evil Barbecue. We cooked, and then we cooked right beside the high school kids. And so I was helping Matt coach them along throughout the day as we were cooking. and I literally cooked with a former student of mine that was a middle school student. She cooked the brisket for the GJQ team, and I just kind of helped her along. But when we were building our boxes, we were sitting on the same cooler, slicing brisket together and building our boxes and turned in together. And I'm having the hair on my neck standing up right now because it was just such a great experience, man. But the girls really got into it, and I thought that was exciting. And Mike and I have talked about this. The interesting thing about this is, you don't have to be fast, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to be talented
Or pretty.
It's an no doubt. It's an even playing field, and so even kids with disabilities can come and cook barbecue, and I think that's another special thing about this, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, anybody. It's not inclusive to anybody. Everybody can come and do this, and that's one thing that's so cool about competition barbecue. You see all the time. I mean, you see people with more money they know what to do with, and you see people that just like making it to buy briskets, and you see every one of them. It's in anywhere in between, and that's what's so cool about barbecue. And everybody's hanging out together, having a good time. There's
doctors, lawyers, business owners,
right,
yardmen, teachers. I mean, it's such a interesting sport to me. My friends and I talked about that, and one of the things I've always loved about it is if I forget brown sugar, I can go over, even Tom Tilley and say, "Hey, brother, you got any brown sugar?" Boom. We help each other out because we want to beat each other on our best day, right?
Right.
And that's what's exciting about barbecue, especially comp barbecue. So
think about how many high schools where you have girls competing against boys. There are many sports out there where girls are competing against guys, and the girls, I mean, I had to swallow a big pill when my daughter beat my team 2 years ago. And, I'm a proud dad, but it hurt.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got Isaiah Carter on here. He says he's the team captain of Cadet Q from Waco, Texas.
That's a good man right there. He's a great kid.
Awesome. Keep it up, bud. Keep working. Keep doing what you need to do. That's a good thing, man. Well, I'm going to bring on Tom since y'all are talking trash about the Georgia Florida. Let you defend yourself a little bit here, man. Well, guys, I think what y'all are doing is amazing, and I love it. If there's anything that we can do in Atlanta Barbecue Store, let me know. I love it. I love what y'all are doing. I hope it excels and just takes off. That's one reason why I wanted to reach out to you and see if we could have something go on, because I hope more people find out about this. And I hope people get in and get on board and do what they can to, if you got high school kids, tell your kids, hey, go talk to somebody at the school or whatever. I don't know, whatever they need to do.
That'll help us when Travis Clark or Tim Spears kids start getting old enough to cook high school barbecue. That we're in trouble then. And there are a lot of adult teams out there that have kids that they're going to dominate. It'll be like I would say the Dolphins or the Cowboys, but they're past their heyday, I guess. Legacy team.
Yeah, my buddy Stan Dobozinski rub my rack. His kids and they kill it.
So, great guy.
Yeah. Hey Tom, when are you gonna grow a barbecue beard, kid?
You still wearing that mask?
I mean, you're the only one.
Billy Gibbons.
That is true, Mike. Tom, you're the only one without a beard there. No, it's really neat to see this stuff.
You don't need a beard to beat Florida.
Too funny. So, all right. So going back, I'm going to come back to Mike real quick, guys, if y'all don't mind. Let me pull him up here. Mike, what you said there's no sanctioning body going on, right? Because if you look here, we've got Georgia, you've got Missouri, and you got Florida. That's just all represented here. In Georgia, we have the GBA. Florida, you got the FBA. Missouri, you got the St. Louis Barbecue. You got all kind of different sanctioning bodies. So you're trying to make this where there's the sanctioning bodies don't matter, correct?
Correct. Because I mean, there's a lot of politics in the barbecue world, and you know it. And in the end of the day, it's not about adult barbecue. It's about kids. It's about the high schools. It's about the education. And we want it to be focused on school districts first, and then we'll give them off to all these other sanctioning bodies. My goal and everybody's goal is in 4 years, they're cooking KCBS. They're cooking Florida Barbecue Association. They're cooking IBCA, because if they get turned on to it, a large portion of them are going to want to do it after they get out of high school. And I know that we've kicked around the idea. I've got collegebarbecue.com. You know, there's already some college teams out there, just like in high school bass fishing, that, you know, if everybody gets behind it, it's going to grow into something it's going to benefit everybody. And that's why I don't want to get involved with the politics. I just want to see it grow. And I want to see whoever wants to get involved. And whatever sanctioning body wants to get involved. I went to KCBS first. They were the first ones I talked to. So, I mean, I'm open to work with everybody. I've talked to World Food Championship. We had an event there 2 years in a row, and they're probably going to have an event there again this year in Dallas. So, you know, in the end, it's about the kids getting to cook. And if they cook backyard with KCBS one weekend, some school districts won't let them cook for money. Some school districts won't let them cook overnight. Some school districts will. Some school districts won't let them go where there's alcohol. Some school districts will. It doesn't matter to me as long as they cook. And if we want this to be a true sport connected to high schools, it's got to be connected to the school districts. It can't go rogue, and it's going to go rogue, and there are going to be other organizations out there that do this. I don't have any doubt. That's no problem. But if we want it to be like a recognized high school sport, we've got to set it up and work with the schools and bring them money and bring them adults and bring them sponsors and bring them mentors and teach our kids, build our communities, you know, and that's what it's about is families and community and getting kids excited about learning and being better citizens. And you mentioned it, but it crosses all socioeconomic boundaries. It crosses all state lines. It crosses, you can be a girl or a boy or whatever. It's not about religion. It's not about politics. It's about having fun and getting together and learning a skill. And in the end, some of those kids are going to get the addiction, just like many of us have, and we love it, and they're going to do it for the rest of their lives. And that's going to benefit the Atlanta barbecue store, because hopefully they buy a lot of rub and a lot of sauce, and every barbecue store and every pit maker across the country. You know, one of the things we've been trying to do right now is get the teams really into ugly drums, because the ugly drums they can build themselves or they can buy them pretty reasonably. And, you know, in the end, you don't have to have a $20,000 rig to cook good barbecue. And we've seen some teams roll in with $1,000 worth of equipment and beat the hell out of some teams that basically had every financial benefit out there. And that's what I love about barbecue. It lets kids that grow up and may not come from anything. You know, I grew up pretty poor. You know, you can do it. And I've seen kids, you know, when our first kid got their first chicken call, this kid for the next 3 years was a changed kid because he had never won anything before, and he was the best chicken cook in the state of Texas that year, and it changed him. And he's, you know, he's still cooking today. So, you know, I hope that people just get behind it, and I don't care what state you're in or what organization you're in. Everybody wants their rules. Well, in the end, we're changing some of the rules. I mean, I've heard the story about, you know, well, I won't even go there because I'm going to get into politics, and I don't want to do that. So, but you know, it's going to however it grows.
So let me shift the conversation a little bit. What do you see a competition for the high schoolers like? Do you see it as kind of like going to one of a normal contest, or do you see them like the Pit Vipers with Tom going and cooking contest? I think it'd be cool to see in Georgia have 15, 20 teams, high school teams, just the high school teams coming on and cooking a contest. Is that what you see, or is there something different?
Oh, I mean, they're gonna do that no matter what. I mean, there's already talks out there. I know the Houston Livestock Rodeo is looking at having an event. I'm sure American Royal eventually, if they don't have one or haven't talked about it, I mean, they're going to have one. It's going to grow that direction, but it can't leave the school district in the end because they pay for everything, and they're not going to sanction. Some school districts are not going to let their kids go and cook some of those events, which is why, you know, the more the merrier. Whoever does what they can do it however they want to do it. And in the end, we've talked about, we're based on charters. So basically, you got to have a charter with us in order to get invited to our national championship. And if you want your team to be the national champions, then you got to cook our events, and you got to qualify, and you got to advance. That doesn't mean they can't cook any association in the country and also go and win and beat some adults at a local cook-off, or go to Tom got to take his kids to the KCBS championship. I'd love to take kids there as well. I mean, but in the end, we've got to have some structure, and it's got to be based around the school districts, or it'll never grow. It'll be like backyard barbecues right now, some of those competitions, and kind of like bass fishing is. Bass fishing, it's a very strong organization, but it doesn't have very deep ties in the school system. And the problem with that is they lose some funding that way, and they lose the backing of the school district. If you've got a superintendent saying, "Hey, you better have a barbecue team because I want to beat the high school across the town," guess what? You're going to have a barbecue team, just like Griff got voluntold. Hey, you need to start a club. Well, what club can we start? These FFA programs and FCCLA and Pro Start programs, we already teach all that stuff. I've been teaching barbecue at my high school for going on 6 years between the two schools, but we never did a competition until 4 years ago because never thought of it. So now it's another vehicle for kids to get scholarships and go and win prizes and show what they can do.
So it's not like so almost you could almost see it as the regions in the school district. Like you got your football games on every Friday night. You got this. You got yes, he is, Tom. You could almost have it to where every Saturday afternoon or Friday night or something, you get together and have a cook, or maybe you could have 5 or 6 teams in the county come together and cook if you got that many schools. Is that what you're saying? And that way it's more of a region thing, and then it's almost like having state champions like in football. I'm trying to.
Well, eventually it could become that, and I mean that's the thing is as it grows, it's gonna. I mean, in Texas, we had 10 competitions scheduled last year all over the state, and they had 140 teams. So, as it grows, you're going to have, and we've set it up as regions in the country, and you qualify in a region, and then you come represent your region. So, depending on what part of the country you're in, if you're the only team in that region, you may get an invite for the first few years to come represent, but if you're from a certain state, and I'm not going to call anybody out, you might not do so well against Missouri or Florida or Georgia or Texas, just because your thing isn't barbecue right now. But as it grows, I mean, everybody cooks. Everybody likes to eat. It's just bringing grilling and barbecue back to the mainstream. And really think about it, unless your family passes that tradition on, it ain't getting passed on. Nobody's teaching it anymore. And which is why it's dying in a lot of places, just like a lot of things. And if we have teachers in the school systems teaching it, it's going to be around forever. And that means ranchers and farmers are going to sell more meat. That means barbecue companies are going to sell more equipment. It's a win-win for everybody. And in the end, kids graduate and they learn and they get excited. And they grow into great adults. And hopefully they come and whoop some adult cook-off guys. And,
I love the passion.
Tom's Pit Vipers, those kids can cook. And our kids in Texas, they beat some big name, some pretty big name teams and got calls against, I think the Sweeney, Texas team in World Food, they placed in the top 15 of all the teams at World Food. And that was adult teams. That wasn't high school teams. So, in the end, it's going to become whatever it becomes, but my hope is that we keep it pure and keep it about the kids and keep it about education. And the reality is teachers all across the country need support. School districts need support. And if you can do 1 or 2 days a year and go and work with kids at a local high school and be a big brother or a big sister and mentor some kids, man, you'll change lives. And I've seen it time and time again. And that's what we're about is anybody that teaches, we want to change lives. We want to make these kids' lives better, and we can give them hope. And nobody even talks about the amount of jobs in the barbecue industry. There's barbecue restaurants all over the country. There's, we work with Aaron Franklin, Franklin's Barbecue here in Texas. We've talked to Mark Avalos at Slab Barbecue. We've got a new barbecue place opening up in Burnett. In the end, it's also about workforce development. They can go get jobs and they learn how to cut some meat. We need like 130,000 butchers in the United States right now. And if we don't get more butchers, we're not going to have good meat anymore. We're going to get even worse than what we're getting today. If you don't go at some of the big box stores, just putting it out there, and many of us know you going and finding the right meat store or butcher shop makes all the difference in the world. Well, teaching those kids how to cut that stuff and cut their own steaks and save some money, cut a whole brisket or a tenderloin or a strip loin, and man, it saves money. We're going to get to the point where you got to know how to do that again. Everywhere else in the world, they do it that way, except here. We've gotten spoiled.
I think it's really cool. The other question I have is for you and the teacher. Like, maybe not every school has a teacher that feels like they can cook barbecue or can teach it or whatever. I'm sure you could say, hey, look, these teams in your area are willing to come in and help you to teach these kids how to do that. I mean, I don't know if that's something that's even done. I mean, I see Griff down there nodding his head. But that sounds something that it's something that, it's a good way. Like for me, I could go down to my local high school and help at night or something and say, hey, look, this is a way to cook. This is what you got to do. And because not everybody feels as confident as these guys that you have on right now. Right.
But that's how it started in Texas. Is the reality is a lot of these schools will reach out to adult teams. The first year, it's with the adult teams. The teacher doesn't actually know anything, and that's the other thing about this. You guys are sharing your passion with teachers all over the United States, and a lot of them don't know barbecue. So just the fact that you spend one time or 2 times a year with a local teacher, you've changed the whole school. You've started something that's going to go and affect kids forever. It's not just about that one cook. And that's the thing that happened in Texas is a lot of these teams didn't have equipment. They didn't know how to cook barbecue. They'd never cooked competition barbecue. And ironically, a lot of our kids hadn't cooked brisket. And that's sacrilege in Texas if you haven't cooked brisket. But there are a lot of people that don't know how to cook brisket. And that's why we're doing it is, man, we want everybody to get behind our teachers and our kids and start the fire, start the passion going. And you'd be amazed. I'm nobody special. And I did it in a small town outside of Texas. And Burnett, Texas is one of the best rural communities in Texas. And they're amazing people there. But it was still a small town. And we put it on the map. Burnett started and has done it for 4 years and grew it statewide into a state championship that now it's going to be around in Texas forever. And I know that because I've gotten reached out to by people that I never would have gotten to talk to. I got to meet Melissa Cookston, and I got to meet, Stephen Reichland was a speaker at our cook-off. Ernest Cervantes was a judge one year. They did a television show on the Food Network on the Cooking Channel called Varsity Barbecue about this event. So, those kinds of people going out and sharing their knowledge with kids, they can change kids' lives. And, right now there's a show in Canada called Fire Masters that it's blowing up all over Canada. And it's basically a backyard barbecue show that's bringing backyard barbecue to the forefront. And, in the end, it's just about getting people connected to our communities. And, all of you guys have been doing it a long time. I've done competitions. I'm actually a chuck wagon. I've done chuck wagon competitions and chef culinary competitions. But I've only been doing competition barbecue for about 5 years now. You guys, I've been very lucky. I just got to take a class from David Buska in Oklahoma, and then I took a class with Travis Clark last summer, and then Tim Keir and those guys. I'm learning from them as well. But in the end, everything I learn, I get to share with my kids and get them excited. And in the end, every year I get a new group of kids that get turned on to it. And it's grown every year. We'll probably have 3 or 4 teams in our local high school. And we've got there probably will be 150 teams next year. This year, COVID has messed everything up. And a lot of school districts have said, sorry, budgets are gone. But next year we'll have, I bet we have 200 teams in the United States, if not more.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I want to give each one of these guys a little bit of time to.
Yeah, please do. And let them. It's all about every state. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring on let me bring on Griff here. Griff,
Yes, sir.
I want to give you an opportunity just to we're wrapping up here. So what do you have to say about Florida, and what do you want to? What is the main thing you want to get out to teachers or whatever?
Well, the first thing is that if you're interested in starting this, is to get in touch with us so we can start talking about what we need to do to get you supported, so you can get your team started. Like you said, I talked to a principal that he was one of my former principals. He's the principal at Auburndale High School now, and he barbecues, but he's too busy to start a team. And I said, well, just see if any teacher's even interested. I'll come teach them, But I've already got another 2 barbecue teams that live in that city that are willing to go in and help. And that's why I was nodding my head earlier. We're going to have to do it that way. And that's a good thing, because that brings in the community support, because they're stakeholders too. The other thing that I'm kind of excited about, it hadn't been talked about yet. We've talked about it as a group. I think thing that makes my heart full the most is that we're talking about really looking at giving kids that are participating in this, a chance to get scholarship money. And it's not to go be a doctor, lawyer, or whatever. It's to become, if you want to be in hospitality management, if you want to learn how to weld so you can learn how to build pits, that's the kind of thing that I'm excited about, is to, give those kids a leg up so that they can, feed themselves, their families, and do what they love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And once again, the basic mission in my eyes, and Mike and Tom, everybody, is that we just are introducing these kids to competition cooking. Like I said, we're not going out there trying to compete for $10,000 at the roll, and
right.
It's just to give them that taste, and get that bug into them. And finally, one of the things I was thinking about earlier was the idea of how you would ask, what's the model look like? I know I've talked about it here. If a team wants to go cook in an FBA contest or a KCBS, let it rip. And I would love to see, within our national system, and we've talked about it, that if a kid's team GCs at an FBA or a KCBS, even in the backyard, to me, that's an automatic in to the state championship. You know what I mean? Or maybe even to a final. I don't know. We haven't talked about that, but if they can go out there and run with the adults, I say that's an automatic in. But we'd have to hammer that out.
That's something you
also have the school versus school.
Yeah, I think that's. I love the. It sounds like it's a lot deeper than I originally thought it was. That's what's really cool, is learning about this. And I think there's so many ways that. I have a lot of competition teams that watch the show, and a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all I'm doing is thinking of how can our viewers get involved and help. And I'm seeing more and more and more opportunities to be able to do this.
Contact your local school and tell them that you want to do it, and then we will work out the support to get it done. That's the number one thing right now, is to get it started. And we can't have a competition if we don't have teams.
There you go. Awesome.
And of course, with us all being educators, we can talk. That's another thing. We have the education language. We can convince your school board that this is okay, because there's certain little buzzwords they need to hear to go, oh, okay, this is a great idea. You know what I mean?
Right. Tom is on here trying to get in touch with the CTAE director. I don't even know what a CTAE is.
Right. There's all kinds of. It's just like in the industry. It's got its own buzzwords. So. But that's the number one thing. If you're interested in seeing it happen in your local community, go to the school, tell them this thing is happening, and you would like to start a team, and we'll do what we can to make it happen.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in touch with North Oak County High School. So
yeah, absolutely, brother.
All right, Griff, let me see if I can't bring Chuck on real quick.
Yes, sir.
Oh, let me see if I can't scroll. Got a lot of people tonight. I love this. We got a lot of people going on here. It's been a fun show for me tonight. I'm used to having so many guests on. Chuck, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you want to talk about that you missed or whatever? Is there anything else going on?
Well, I think, kind of like Griff said, if you're from the state of Missouri and you want to help a team or you want to have a school in where you live and you go see that school, see the administration in it, reach out to me, reach out to Mike, just make that contact because, like those guys said, right now we're just trying to get as many teams ready so that next spring that God willing, we can actually have our state contest across. And we need those teams to compete, like they said. And so I think that's really important. And I think the other aspect that, for me, seeing this come, because this has been something I've wanted to do for a long, long time. And so I think being able to give back and teach these kids that, hey, I can cook the same quality food that these big teams are cooking. I can cook for my family better than local restaurants can cook for us at cheaper prices. I just think there's a lot of pride, that's there. And I think back, to the kids that I've trained on my meat judging teams. And, I see them down the road and they've got kids and their wife says, "Oh, you're the guy that taught him how to select a steak. I get a steak lecture every time we go to the store." Well, I want to hear that same thing about barbecue, and those are the types of stories that we want to see as educators, because we know those real life hands-on situations. That's what matters. I mean, when it comes down to it.
So my buddy Chris wants to know, where are the Missouri teams located currently in the state? I don't know where he's from. Chris, you can put it on there.
Well, as far as high school teams, I'm not 100% sure. We are putting feelers out there all over. I've contacted teams all over by Rolla, West Plains, all the way up to Bowling Green. I'm from Osceola, Missouri. So I've been reaching out and putting feelers out there in a lot of places, got a lot of buzz going about it. As far as KCBS teams or the St. Louis Barbecue Society, is that what it's called? I'm not 100% sure there. I'm on the opposite side of the state. But I know, as far as teams that could mentor Missouri from north to south, east to west, there's teams all over the state that would be happy and willing to, hey, bring that teacher in and, mentor them and help them so that they could go back and teach this to the kids and things. I mean, I'm not a drum guy. I've never cooked hot and fast. My whole life it's been low and slow on an offset stick burner. I reached out to a team and I said, hey, this old man's got to learn how to use a drum smoker. Can I come compete with you guys? I'm going in a couple of weeks and I'm going to go cook a KTBS event with them. And I'm going to learn how to use a drum smoker the correct way, because like I said, it's just not how I was taught. My whole life has been, an offset stick burner. So I've got a big learning curve there to be able to teach that full circle to my kids. It's about the only thing that's not sitting out in my yard to cook on. And so it'll be another little thing there that I can teach them.
Awesome. That's great. Chris is in St. Louis, so I don't know where that is in comparison to you, but there you go. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for what you're doing and what you're continuing to do and the passion that y'all have for this. I think it's awesome. Yeah, Mike, we've got somebody that the Douglas High School in Minden, Nevada is interested. So that's pretty cool. This thing is spreading. So awesome. Low and slow, baby, but drums are equally as awesome. Yeah, I used to cook low and slow, and then I'd change to hot and fast. Now I've got to have a Jambo, and I cook hot and fast on a Jambo. But man, those cans, I know Chris cooks on some cans, and me and Aaron cooks on cans, and Tom's cooking on cans. I mean, the cans are the thing going on. If you watch our show at all, you've heard us have this talk about. Really cool. Well, Chuck, thank you so much. I know we got to get this wrapped up. I've had y'all on for a long time tonight. So let me
thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I love it. I'm glad we can do this. Let me bring on Tom real quick. Uh-oh. There he is.
There you go.
Tom, thank you so much for coming on, my man. I appreciate everything you do with all kind of stuff. But what are some parting words that you have for us here that you've thought of, or something I've missed?
Well, just anybody out there that's listening, if just get in touch with us, because actually at the coming fairgrounds at our last comp, there was like 3 teams from Hall County that were starting to, hey, we'll do one in Gainesville, North Hall. I'm like, wow. And, you know, I didn't have the presence of mind to drop right there and grab a business card or an email. I was turning in a box with the kids, and we just get in touch with us. It's fun. And Chuck even mentioned, the cost. But hey, once you get the ball rolling, high school team, the donors will come. I mean, Scott Smith will give us Southern Q Smokers will give us any cooker we want.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people that are willing to help out with teams like y'all, because I mean, everybody loves what you're doing. I mean, I know the competition world loves what you're doing, and I understand Mike's trying to get it not necessarily in the competition world of the sanctioning bodies of KCBS. And I completely get what's going on, but the teams want to get involved. I mean, I know I would love to get involved, and I've heard a lot of people getting Beth with J&B's Barbecue. You know, she's in Forsyth.
Beth's doing all 4 Self County teams. She was one of the teams that were going to come.
Right.
Compete.
So I mean, it's out there. I think y'all are doing an awesome job. Keep it up. Thanks for what you do. And what are you cooking again?
One Pimp Viper is going to do chicken and roebuck. One's going to do ribs, and I'm going to do my first competition brisket.
Look out! That's
I called Griff and asked him, "Hey, give me some tips on the last 90 seconds before you turn in that brisket." And Griff sent me the whole recipe. He sent me this whole recipe. Thanks, Griff.
Man, great! What a great guy. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have any other questions? I don't know if I could help you or not, but I'd love to. Whatever, ask away. But anyway, thanks. I'm gonna bring all y'all back on real quick. Say, I think it's been a great show. Appreciate everything that y'all done tonight. And Mike, thanks what you got going on. Appreciate you coming on tonight. I love this whole situation. If there's anything we can do, let us know. But guys, y'all have a great night. Thanks for coming on. It's been an incredible show. Thanks for all your information. And if y'all don't have anything else to say, I appreciate it.
the time.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Appreciate you having us on, brother.
Thank you. I'm calling you right now, Griff.
All right, buddy. Give me a holler.
All right, guys. Y'all can stay on if you want to. All right, y'all have a great night.
Hey, brother,